Modern island builders have the technology to
Hello.
create something as big as
So,
There's no evidence that in the history of humanity we have the capability to do engineering at these scales.
the mystery deepens when scientists explore a
no.
They find stromatolites, a weird and rare kind of living
But anyway, this little box. Oh, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but one zombie is literally holding fire.
Stromatolites did not build the Bahamas.
Two, there's multiple more Alexes. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then there's only one thing that looks like Steven. That. So how come Alex get multiple, but Steve is left with none? And how come they kept this, but the actual special one looks like that? Yeah. So, this, her name is Bluebee. Bluebee. Downloaded her off the Skin Dex. Put in Baby, because I installed the Baby mod. It turned out to be exactly the opposite of what I thought it would be, which is just making your character smaller. Anyway, I downloaded her because she looks cute, and I wasn't actually aiming for a child. I was aiming for something that looks cute, because babies are cute, and I found it. So I decided to download her. I think I might still. Okay. So, that loads. Okay, wait 100 million years. Yeah, definitely gonna have to wait those 100 million years. Anyway, so let's start.
If you look at a satellite image of the ocean just off the coast of Africa, you'll see this pool of red dust. The reason this dust is red is because it's really rich in iron.
The desert winds of the Sahara whip up an iron-rich sandstorm. This red iron dust cloud heads out over the ocean, beginning a long journey across the Atlantic and over the volcanic islands of the Caribbean.
So the iron in the dust acts to fertilize the cyanobacteria living in the water column, causing them to go into overdrive in terms of producing carbonate.
These weird rock creatures are in effect eating the Sahara desert, and as their numbers swell, they create the swarming islands of the Bahamas.
Oh, no. Okay. Alright.
Sand in Africa. This extraordinary process has been unfolding for 100 million years, creating the beautiful, twisting Bahamas, rising gently above the waves, shaped by the wind. One of the really mind-boggling things about seeing the Earth from space vantage point is that you see this interconnectivity. Those boats are still down there, still working there, not done yet. The Bahamas are still under construction.
Oh! It works?
Up next, many of these
It's alive. Right. Now.
in the land of the giants. Giants and giants.
Are you alive?
A scientist
Well,
Colombia's
struggling to give credits, but oh, finally. So, Lunar Star Galaxies, big fat smelly shout out and fat smelly credit to you for making this beautiful Minecraft skin. And whoever made this one. I don't remember who made this one. I named it Lily, by the way. That's okay with you.
This is really weird. The land is broken up into weird geometric fragments that look something like a jigsaw puzzle.
I don't know how I got this skin, because it was already downloaded, And also, I joined in 2019,
The images were
not
taken
2016.
from the Andes Mountains, known as the Los Llanos.
And also, I got this one and just they look similar, so I'm like, oh,
Attention of biologist Delphine Renard.
yes,
The satellite images were really
of
like the first
course.
step discovering these things. What was really stunning was the
So I made it
of the
other
mounts.
random
We
skin.
didn't know what these mounts were, how they were created. So that was like kind of the big question.
Someone or something has transformed the Earth into a vast and intricate pattern. From space, the scales or lumps look small, but the mounds are actually as high as 6.5 feet and can reach 16 feet across. Delphine and her team examined the possibility the strange shapes were made by humans.
We know of Earth mounts created by humans in Mesoamerica and South America. We know them, for example, in the coast of Guyana.
In fertile wetlands, farmers have been known to make raised mounds to stop their crops from getting waterlogged.
Oh, never mind.
There, a group of people that were growing something here, some type of grain or vegetable, and this is
Okay,
just
yeah.
remnants of their farms.
There is no record of a settlement in this exact area. But was there once?
New discoveries are being made all the time. A whole new little city is actually located up in the mountains of Cartagena. It's a series of very sophisticated irrigation terraces along the mountainside.
Discovered in 1972, Colombia's so-called Ciudad Perdida was built on a man-made landscape of
Wait,
over
what did that
100
say?
raised
What did that say?
The dream of a real-life El Dorado has lured thousands of treasure hunters into Colombia's wilderness, and some have
Make a
struck
new
gold.
world for this video.
Many of these ancient
Let's
sites
go
are
hardcore world,
used
that's
by
for sure.
treasure hunters and so forth.
Is this scaly landscape evidence of
Oh,
another
Minecraft. You need to think more.
Delphine visits the site of the mounds and tests the soil for evidence of farming, which would prove humans have had an impact on this landscape. But the tests show nothing.
We didn't have any indication of these mounts being cultivated in the past.
Whatever made these mounds was not human.
There you go.
Investigators begin
Oh.
to suspect that the mounds have been created by some kind of animal.
That was unexpected.
In the natural world that are very good at constructing things. In parts of Africa, you get mounds built by termites. If you have enough termites concentrated into one area, they can build structures that can actually be seen from space. I've been to Africa. I've seen termite mounds, and some of them are huge, taller than me.
Termites are known to live in dry savannas, but they can also be found in wet tropical forests.
A lot of termites build mounts to prevent being flooded during the rainy season.
Delphine and her team dissect the mounds, which locals call sorales, to see if termites are responsible.
When you cut a surat into two parts, you can see that the surface is like kind of crumbly, and the inside there is
I've been
not a
always
lot of
thinking of making a
genders
compilation
characteristics.
of all my unposted videos, but most of my unposted videos have been deleted.
Instead, Delphine's team
Because
discovered
it
that
took
the
too long to
monster
post
structures have
them.
themselves been made by a monster.
And also I accidentally deleted Minecraft Part 2. That's why I
One species of earth
what did I
especially
do?
big right for the able to produce these very big
Ew.
Giant
Oh yeah.
Can be up to 5 feet
Don't mind me up here just
These are
swimming
monster
with myself
workers
actually.
created
I
by
felt
monster
so
workers.
awkward.
These are piles of working food.
I made a video, which is Minecraft Part 2,
You can see the effects of their food on
with shaders.
The giant
Because I didn't
casts
have the
rich
original
nutrients,
Minecraft Part
encouraging
2.
an explosion of growth on top of the
And
mounds,
yeah.
which helps bind them together.
And what's going on with the head?
It's all caused by millions of these invertebrates.
The mystery of the mounds is solved. The new mystery is the monster worms that created them.
That's another thing too. To have a lot to do in business, to know more about the earthworm in itself. This is a very exciting place to be.
It looks really cool. Sounds good.
Still to come. Don't look now. It's America's nukes.
It's easy to imagine why the U.S. Air Force wants to hide this one.
A giant vortex sucks up the Arabian Sea.
I see an image like this, and it makes the hairs on the back of my neck.
There we go! And we're in.
Area 51.
And as always, keeps on starting. Or what the?
Rural Montana. A commercial satellite captures a crystal clear image of an isolated
You're
military facility.
You can see building structures, you can see light poles, and these are the shadows of the light poles.
But an image of the same location taken sometime earlier shows a striking difference.
In comparing these two images, we see that one is very clean, very crisp. The other is kind of blurry. So something obviously is going on here.
Well, anyway, so sorry about that.
Plutonium is one of the Earth's
Just wanted
rarest
you
and
guys
most
to listen to the
harmful
music.
If terrorists get their hands on radioactive materials, they could construct what's called a dirty bomb.
We're talking about one of the most poisonous substances known to man. It takes very little to do more damage. A dirty bomb is a lethal homemade cocktail of explosives and radioactive material. It would have devastating effects if you put that into
Right.
the terror you could create is one of the reasons why it is one and favorite piece in the The U.S. government admits nuclear weapons decommissioning is ongoing. Which sites are involved remains highly classified. Coming up, the black hole that's bright green.
No, no,
Talk about an ocean vortex that's that large, that powerful. You won't go anywhere near it. February 2013. As the Worldview 2 satellite orbits above the Arabian Sea, it captures an image which is as weird as it is beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know what I stepped on.
Vortex spreading over more than
Thank you.
500
It didn't
square
sound
miles.
healthy.
I see an image like this, and it makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Scientists are amazed at what they see. I've seen ocean whirlpools, but nothing on this scale. It's not just the shape and size of this mysterious vortex. It's the color. The livid green immediately leads to speculation of some gigantic toxic industrial disaster.
Oh, wow.
That bright green color is the first thing you think of when you think of toxic waste. Is this naturally occurring or some huge environmental catastrophe? Lethal toxic spills are often bright day-glow colors, the result of a deadly mix of chemicals. We actually have images from Argentina of a river glowing this same toxic green. The Riachuelo River, just outside Buenos Aires, is one of the most polluted bodies of water on the planet. There's no end to what has been done to this, filled with toxic waste, garbage. Who knows? In 2010, the noxious river suddenly turned neon green. What's amazing is that it's so bright green. Well, what's interesting is that that green water that we're seeing is actually not from the toxins in the water. It's actually from dye, colored dye that Greenpeace put in there to help highlight how polluted this area actually is. The stunt makes headlines around the world. Dyeing a river to highlight pollution is kind of like bombing for peace. It turns out this dye is actually very harmless, and in a few days will be completely gone. This green vortex covers 570 square miles, and the nearest human settlement is the Sultanate of Oman, whose people trade in fish and dates, not industrial chemicals. Oman typically has very low levels of pollution. There's no reason somebody would want to pull a stunt like this there. It's got to be something else. The vortex disappears as inexplicably as it appeared. Scientists working for the Sultan traveled to the place the vortex was photographed.
What did you just say?
The real eureka moment really
I said shh to my video. Cause it's just like BAP! And it just jump scares me. Like everything about me just jumped. It's like
mysterious glowing seas have been reported by sailors for hundreds of years.
Bioluminescence is the effect of putting in an enzyme and
Laughing makes me laugh, so it's like an infinite chain of laugh.
Vast blooms of microorganisms can emit eerie blue light over areas big enough to be seen from space.
There's all sorts of light forms about bioluminescence. Why would organisms use bioluminescence?
You know that was
One of
so
the
beautiful.
mysteries of science. That's something that we don't understand.
But these glowing creatures are only visible at night. The green swirl can be seen round the clock. We discovered that it's tiny microscopic green algae swirling around a giant ocean whirlpool. It's mind-blowing that these tiny microscopic organisms that individually you can barely see, but in large numbers, you can see from space. The invasion of algae explains the green color, but not the giant vortex. It's just like a black hole. And indeed, scientists have discovered what they call black hole whirlpools. Disturbingly, this black hole behaves in ways similar to its astronomical counterpart. Both types of black holes suck in the matter around them. In one case, light, in the other, dark.
We're talking about an ocean vortex. It's that large and that powerful. You wouldn't be anywhere near it if you were in a small boat.
The terrifying maelstroms described by old mariners were once thought to be nothing more than fanciful stories. Now it seems the old sailors were telling the truth. Black hole whirlpools have been seen in satellite images of the South Atlantic. But the seas off the Sultanate of Oman are believed to be too shallow for such whirlpools. Scientists still
What is she
debate what's
playing?
really going on.
What is she playing?
Still to come.
Wow.
Something dangerous hidden in the jungle.
What did they stumble upon that the military didn't want them to find?
February 2014.
No.
Military satellite orbits 430 miles above one of the most secret escapes on Earth. Far from civilization, in Myanmar's dense, forbidding jungle, it captures an image of something totally at odds with its surroundings.
When you look closely at this image, you can ascertain that it is some sort of high security installation.
Samurai?
This installation is very, very mysterious.
Mexico trader.
It's the extraordinary levels of security which immediately cause alarm among analysts. Whatever is being done or made here is being kept completely under wraps.
So the first thing that arouses suspicion for me at this place is that there's a helipad. This indicates that there are high-level officials who are probably busy. There's a security checkpoint here.
Oh, you can honestly not tell which one is the crafting table.
But perhaps the most puzzling thing about the facility is its location. The complex is situated deep inside the infamous dense jungles of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar, known to most of the world as Burma.
It's very clearly in a secluded area. It's one where access is limited, and therefore the most likely explanation is that this is a military installation.
It makes you wonder, what does the military have going on here that they really don't want anyone to know about?
There's no good commercial motive to build anything deep in the jungle.
One would suspect initially to have some kind of
Oh yeah.
In an effort to find out what this facility might be, two Burmese journalists make the long trek through the jungle. Eventually, they reach the perimeter fence. They are arrested, interrogated, and sentenced to a decade of hard labor.
What did they stumble upon that the military didn't want them to find?
There's no doubt that the reaction from the military makes them suspicious.
Although Burma is formally a democracy, the Burmese state is in reality a military junta. And Burma's rulers are oppressive. To figure out what they could be hiding, analysts look for clues in the architecture.
To me, it looks sort of like a production facility. There's a smokestack. There's a connecting tunnel from this other building.
But this looks like some enormous military or industrial complex.
In response to growing concern from the international community, Burma's military claims the complex is nothing more than a perfectly ordinary ammunition factory. But analysts are not convinced.
If this is just a regular factory churning out bombs and guns, you can understand the high security, but what's the need for all the secrecy?
To build a weapons factory in the middle of the Burmese jungle, surrounded by the highest levels of security, makes no sense.
What do we need to do to
As perhaps the weapons
scientists?
produced here were of a kind the Burmese military doesn't want the world to see.
Yeah.
The reason the journalists went to investigate this facility is because of rumors that it was a potential chemical weapons plant. Something that the military would definitely not want people to know about.
Burma's
Okay,
ruling
so that's
elite
not
has
part
a
of the
grim
plan.
record of human rights abuses. They are suspected of using chemical weapons against rebel tribespeople in the north of the country.
Of course, the government of Myanmar flat out denies any involvement with chemical weapons. But as we've seen recently in places like Syria, you can never be too sure.
The thing to remember is that the Myanmar military are one of the most highly secretive militaries in the world.
There are lots of features that such a facility would have. This facility has all of those things, but it is almost impossible to draw any conclusions about a chemical weapons production facility from satellite imagery alone.
The satellite image is inconclusive. Most analysts believe this new complex in the jungle serves some sinister purpose.
Could this satellite imagery be looking at a new installation to house political prisoners? That would explain the secrecy surrounding this facility. If you look at the structure in the satellite imagery, it could possibly be cell blocks. Although on the surface it's a democracy, Myanmar incarcerates thousands upon thousands of political prisoners. And there are also labor camps in the country for the political prisoners.
But despite Burma's shocking record of atrocities against its own people, most analysts are not convinced that this is a labor camp. In recent years, Burma's military junta has been attempting to shake off its reputation for state terror.
This is at a point in Myanmar's history when they had less need for prisons than previously. They were releasing political prisoners. They were not preparing for new mass arrests.
As with Area 51, the purpose of this facility remains a closely guarded secret. Anyone foolish enough to visit the base faces the prospect of arrest and imprisonment in one of Burma's notorious jails.
Why is it so dangerous to even report on it if you're a journalist? Why all the mystery?
Whatever is being concealed in these vast sheds, it's something so dangerous it must be surrounded by razor wire fences and armed guards, and hidden in the depths of the jungle.
This is money. This is money.
They're watching you. More than 4,000 satellites circle the Earth. Every day they uncover new mysterious phenomena that defy explanation. There's something weird going on here.
Something out of the twilight.
A lost city revealed from space. Satellite imagery has revealed something hugely important. A detective story that leads from the Nazis. Things happen the way out here. Back to the age of the warlords. The most famous of these barbarian warlords, Attila the Hun. The mystery of the mummies. And the place of no return.
The mummies still have peril and very, very clear.
A terrifying desert tsunami the size of a skyscraper.
Like something you'd see in the end times.
Battling phenomena. Mysteries from space. What on earth are they? Venice. Considered by many the most beautiful place on earth. The origin of this strange city, built on a watery lagoon, is a mystery lost in time. Now, aerial photography may be shedding light on the city's violent beginnings.
Those lines just jump out at you. Bad things happen.
Imagery has revealed
I'm
something
so glad.
hugely
God knows this, yo.
July 2007, northern Italy.
Yeah, like I'm walking in between the
An
walls.
infrared aerial photograph of an
Looking at
area
every
just
room,
outside
and
the
I
city
see a couple
reveals an
zombies.
unusual pattern on the land, which is invisible to conventional satellite cameras.
So when I look at this image, what I'm seeing is just normal everyday agriculture. However, if I look at this same area using infrared,
Ah! Oh, you're looting.
Those lines just jump out at you.
The infrared image shows an area that lies around 8 miles northeast of Venice. Italian geologist Paolo Mozzi goes to investigate.
I'm opening
When
it.
Mozzi arrives, he immediately notices something unusual about the crops growing here.
You can see that the soya,
Right.
rice, green. Here is growing much worse.
There's no obvious cause for this. No record of recent construction, no signs of
I
blight.
didn't even know this was a bomb, so I'm like,
Something under the ground is doing this. And whatever's down there, it's been there for some time.
So we know that underneath the ground, something is missing.
something enormous is behind this.
If you want to understand what's going on, it makes sense to look at the history of this world. Some of it is pretty dark.
Could this structure be a relic of Italy's terrifying fascist past? Benito Mussolini came to power nearly 10 years before Hitler. His crimes are often overlooked.
I was in God mode. I said it looks like I was in God mode.
Basically has exactly the same thing going on. A lot of people don't realize that in the 1930s, leading up to the Second World War, the Italian fascists also
Oh man, that samurai plays much good. I haven't even gotten
put this
so,
to show the outlines and remnants
I let him out.
Italy's fascists built more than 100 camps, prisons for political opponents. In 1943, the Nazis took control of northern Italy. The camps became holding bays for Italian Jews before they were taken to the extermination camps of Auschwitz.
If we're looking at traces of the concentration camp, you can understand why some people would want to cover it up.
But far from covering up their existence, Italy has preserved fascist concentration camps like Risiera di San Saba as a reminder of fascist barbarism.
After the war, the Italians would not 100% look at what was happening. So it's not something I would expect them to simply ambush that.
At the sight of the image, Paolo Mozzi starts scouring the earth. Scattered among the rocks are valuable clues.
Here we can see all these fragments have been broken by the tillage, the agricultural activity. For example, here, so this is a marble. most marbles are away. There's no marble in the area.
To find stone which is not local suggests some kind of advanced civilization, one which disappeared long ago.
Now when I look here, I see a semicircular structure, and that's interesting. It's an antiquity.
Damn it.
This almost looks like what could be an ancient house.
Here, for example, we have a rock, a polished rock, is coming from Egypt, and it was used for decorating. Here there's these little bits here. These are pieces of mosaic, which is normally used for doors.
If you know what you're looking for, it's all there. It's the shape of an amphitheater, an podium, and the city. All the characteristics of a major Roman city. The historical record shows that an ancient city thrived close to where the image was taken. One particular large city,
Llama.
that we know was located close to the modern city of Venice. Ultimately, it would have been one of the largest cities in the empire, larger than Pompeii, home to upwards of 20,000 But in AD 452, disaster strikes. This particular city, we think, was actually sacked. The most famous of these barbarian warlords, Attila the Hun.
Attila was the head of the Huns, and the Huns were people coming from Sicily. They used to rob everything and destroy the city and burn the city. That would have been one of the largest cities in the Roman Empire, and it's completely wiped off the map. That's a huge deal, and it's a huge advance. Unprecedented importance.
After it is razed to the ground, the city enters the realm of legend. Now, infrared imaging and archaeological excavation are bringing this mysterious place back into the light.
We can see the main road, so the city. If you were here on a hot summer day 2,000 years ago, what would you see? You would see a city, you would see many houses with the streets that would be running in this direction. Then in the background, you would see the theaters. The theaters were something like 40 meters tall, so they were really sticking out. They were making the skyline of a theater.
Satellite imagery has revealed something hugely important, but now there's a lot of things left to uncover, quite literally, by archaeological excavation to verify the claims that have been made.
Okie dokie, 90-90.
Archaeologists are
Love
just
you.
beginning to uncover the secrets of this lost city. But already something is clear. It seems that the survivors of Attila's apocalypse took refuge amongst the islands of this watery lagoon. There they founded a settlement that reminded them of their lost home. A lot of what we're discovering about Altima, including canals and drainage systems, suggests that Altima could have been a prototype of the same place. Just possibly so much more. Coming up, these kind of storms invoke memories of biblical catastrophe.
Okay.
This storm is the size of the United States, and witches conducting unnatural acts.
Talking to myself.
Okay.
April 2nd, 2015. Satellite images show what appears to be a gigantic storm cloud engulfing the Arab Peninsula, threatening populated areas. Dust storms can be man, but to see one that encompasses almost the entire area of Saudi Arabia is mind-boggling. This storm is the size of the United States. The storm is so huge, it looks like an arrow. But then residents in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, notice something on the horizon. A gigantic tsunami of sand is heading their way, many miles wide and the height of a skyscraper. As the huge wall of sand heads towards the city, people flee for cover. Cars try to outrun the storm. Aircraft are forced to land or alter their routes. Terrified residents capture what's happening on their phones. Arabian desert storms can be killers. The sharp sand damaging eyes, leaving people gasping for breath.
Storms like this can absolutely be fatal. You need to know what's going on.
The region is accustomed to desert sandstorms known as haboobs, but the size and ferocity of this onslaught is extraordinary. Satellite images reveal that it covers a staggering 2 million square miles.
It's like something out of Dubai. Just apocalyptic. It's kind of like something you'd see in the end times.
These kind of storms kind of evoke memories of biblical catastrophe associated with the plagues of Egypt. Such a storm is prophesied in the Bible, divine punishment for the sins of humans.
There's a passage in Deuteronomy where God says that he will turn the country into dust and powder and send down scorching heat on the sky.
The Lord will turn the rain of your country into dust and powder. It will come down from the skies until you are destroyed.
Those are really quite powerful words that describe what we're seeing here in this video.
In recent times in the Middle East and across the Arab world, inhuman acts of unspeakable savagery have been carried out, often in the name of God. In just the days leading up to the storm, Islamic State leaves more than 140 dead after a suicide bomb attack at Sana'a, Yemen. It's the job of scientists to try to find logical, rational reasons for the forces at work around us. But to some, the scale of this storm is not so easy to explain. We have been able to link bigger dust storms to human activity. When humans break up the desert, the broken up land provides the perfect breeding ground for big dust storms and big sandstorms. Large dust storms afflicted the Midwest in the 1930s. The infamous Dust Bowl was the result of aggressive farming methods encouraged by government price fixing. It had some in the United States that were over a mile high and 100 miles long. But there is little or no agricultural activity in the desert lands where this giant sandstorm originated. The big reason why farming is probably not one of the primary causes of what we're seeing going on in the news today is simply that there's not that much farming that's going on. Months later, it happens again. Another biblical scale desert storm hits the Middle East. This time, it's even more devastating. At least 5 people are killed, hundreds of people injured. These giant desert storms have been described as freak weather events, which means that scientists have no easy explanation for them.
Whenever you have a disaster like this, especially on the proportions and scale of something like this, you're going to have people who say, this is sent by God. This is the end of the world.
This satellite image, it turns out, was terrifyingly accurate. Coming up, the locals call it the Sea of Death, the place of no return.
These marks look like they could be some sort of ancient burial site.
Mummies, Mongols, and mystery holes.
Oh, hang on. Oh, good.
The ghostly Taklamakan Desert, cut off from the world by mountains to the north, south, and west, and by the vast Gobi Desert to the east. The tribes who live beyond these mountains call this empty, waterless hell the Sea of Death. And yet, when the GOI satellite flies over this desolate land, it captures an image which perplexes analysts.
It appears to be some sort of grid. Why would you put a grid like this in a desert?
build it. Why do they build it? Why do they build it in such extreme hospitable place? Scale analysis reveals each grid covers a third of an acre. More than 100 of these squares are photographed stretching over 5 miles.
It's like a series of teenage spots at the surface of the Earth. It's like little pop marks.
They're almost like squares or diamonds, with strange patterns, almost pixelated. What they are, we don't know. The desert is freezing cold, blasted by chilling Siberian winds from the north. And thousands of miles from open water, this desert is also extraordinarily dry, deadly to cross. It's no surprise that its name means the abandoned place, or the place of no return. The Sea of Death is so unfriendly to humans, analysts expect to see untouched wilderness. Not this.
It doesn't look like a natural formation. It's far too symmetrical. They seem to be joined along a central line, which gives you the impression that people are getting to these areas. So you immediately think, well, that's probably man-made.
There are humans in this place of no return. The only problem is, they're dead. In 1914, archaeologist Sir Aurel Stein leads one of several teams into the desert. Just 100 miles from the mysterious marks, at a place known as the Tarim Basin, the explorers discover the mummified remains of humans. Some of the desert mummies date back 4,000 years.
Some mummies were uncovered in the north of the desert region.
But there's something weird about these ancient mummies. They look almost alive.
Their clothes could have been straight from a local clothes store. The colours are bright and very vivid, in perfect condition. The mummies still have hair on them, they've still got wispy ears, and very, very clear features.
Similar weird desert holes on the other side of the globe could offer a clue.